Everyone, it's Debbie Bang speaking. Very excited to have you join us for a discussion about the Cohort 4 quality and data coaching opportunity coming up with E-QIP beginning shortly. So I'm just going to go through a couple of slides to tell you a little bit about E-QIP for those who don't know about it, to talk a little bit about the model for improvement and some of our accomplishments to date, and hopefully tickle you into really wanting to be involved. Let you think about how this fits with what else is going on in the healthcare world right now, specifically about the Ontario health teams and the objectives moving towards our community mental health and addiction sector eventually being able to do quality improvement plans, as our other colleagues are from the hospital sector, primary care, long-term care. And then what you can expect from us if you are involved with the E-QIP team, which of course is a free service. It's supported by the Ministry of Health, and then how to contact us. And I'll go through the application in a little bit of detail as well. So this is our E-QIP team. So Ashley is on the phone, as well as Amy. So those are our project managers and the director. We are without Mike Dunn at this point in time. He's gone on to Waypoint mental health program in Midland or Penetang. I'm not sure exactly where it is. But we are sad to have him go and are in the process of finding someone to, I'm not sure replace would be the right word, but somebody who can come and take his place. So he's well missed for sure. So this is how we define quality improvement, and we will send you the slides, so I won't spend time going through that one as well. But ultimately, it's about making things better in a continuous kind of way for the clients that we serve and the people that we're trying to make lives better for. And it is a process of looking at quality from the lenses of the person. So what would make life better for them as opposed to through the eyes of the agency. Next slide. So I'm hoping this will be familiar to a number of you. The quality or the model for improvement is on the left-hand side, and it really is about sorting through what we're trying to accomplish, how we'll know that the change is actually an improvement, and what changes we're going to make those that improvement, and the plan, do, study, act cycle where we actually test out some of those change ideas, and then of course sustain those to continue to do the great work that we've just figured out how better to do. The domains of quality are internationally accepted and certainly part of Health Quality Ontario and the work that they do. But these are recognized throughout the world. So safe, client-centered, timely, efficient, equitable, and effective services. And that's what we're all aiming for when we're trying to make things better for the people that we serve. And most importantly, the quadruple aim, which began as a triple aim, it really has added a piece about making sure that there is improved experience for the providers as well. So right service, right place, right time for the right person, and also that the people delivering those services, it's a positive experience for them as well. And we know that if we can do all of those things, we really can make a difference in the lives of the people that we're trying to help. Next slide. So this is a model for improvement, and I'll just spend just a bit of time going through this. We use a very structured approach to helping agencies to do their quality improvement activity, because often what we've done in the past is we've thought that we had a problem, we've sort of got ourselves together in a little room with a few people, we figured out what the solution would be, and then we've gone ahead and implemented it. And that very rarely works because we may not, and quite likely have not gotten to why the problem is actually occurring in the first place. So we break this into different sections. Preparing to do the quality improvement, we spend time figuring out what the real problem is or what the opportunity is, and then ultimately to begin to build a charter which is going to be the paper trail of what it is we're going to be doing. To understand the problem, we use a series of what we refer to as diagnostics, and this is what we're really trying to accomplish. What is the root cause? What is the reason why this is not going well? And to think creatively, we also need to get a variety of different inputs here. So not only are we asking our team and our data to tell us what the problem is, but we use what we refer to as an experience-based co-design, an excellent tool to actually get the client voice and help them to articulate what they feel the problem is. They're often the best source as to how we can make a difference. So that's all about understanding the problem. The next piece we need to do is to figure out how we're going to measure it. And these are a variety of different measurements that we do. We have an ultimate goal of wanting to improve how quickly people get to be seen in our service, but there's a number of steps we need to go through in order to do that. And it may be changing our intake process or how long it takes between different aspects of intake, or how we vet and figure out whether or not you're aligned with the right service in the first place. So there's a number of things that we need to do to make that a better, a faster service or faster access for the person. And part of what we do here is we figure out how we know whether or not we've done that. So those are all our measurement pieces. And then we have a very fun chart that we call a run chart, which sort of tracks our changes over time. So we have some baseline data, how it was before we got started, and then we can see whether or not the changes that we've made are actually making a difference for the person that we're trying to improve the experience for. So we teach people about run charts and how to plot those. And then we do the fun stuff. We develop the solutions. And it's not until this point that we talk about solutions, though each of us are very good at coming up with solutions. We use a couple of very fun tools that help us think outside the room. So not our usual way of doing things. We use a random word piece, we use a TRIZ activity. There's a variety of different approaches we use to help us to generate ideas that we wouldn't normally have thought about, different ways of thinking. For instance, one of the random words we used for a problem around access was using the word disco. And what do we know about disco that helps us figure out how we could improve access? So as an example, disco is a fun and exciting kind of high energy activity. So if we wanted to improve access, how might we make it more fun? How might we make it more active? What are some of the things we can learn about disco that would help us to make our problem better? Again, you can see that we're thinking very differently than we might have before in a non-linear kind of way. Then we go ahead and test those change ideas, and we do it through a plan, do, study, act process. And then the last piece is about how we sustain it. One of the things we do up front is we do a series of 3 assessments with your agency. One is around the culture of quality to see before and after. Another is around your readiness before and after. And the third is around sustainability. And one of the things we know that if we want to sustain an activity, there's often things we need to do ahead of time to make sure that we're able to sustain that activity. So some great tools that we have available will really help you to know your strengths as an agency, as well as your areas of gap, and then what it is you're going to do about those, which make you a much more equal partner when you're in discussions around Ontario health teams. Next slide. So again, this is just some of the activities that we've been involved in and what's available. We have an email distribution list. We also have newsletters that we do regularly. We have a community of practice as well as an advanced community of practice we're using to work on indicator work right now. We have a variety of different courses, including ideas training, which is sort of a day-long workshop that really helps people to understand that model for improvement and to practically apply a notion or something they want to change during that training so it becomes a little more experiential for them. So a variety of things that we've been doing. Next slide. Yep, again. And so I just wanted to do I think there's 3 or 4 slides here on our brag for the work that we've done over the last couple of years. So this is our provincial reach to date, and you can see this sort of the saturation of the colors. We've had the most activity and involvement in the Toronto Central area in terms of agencies being involved with us and changing the way they practice quality improvement. But you can see we've also been very busy in the Northeast and the Northwest LINs, and again in the Southwest, and also Hamilton, Niagara, Haldimand, and Brant as well. So again, our goal is the whole province, and these are sort of the E-QIP offerings or the things that we've done in the different areas across the province. Next one. This is one of the pieces that we help agencies to look at in terms of their readiness to do quality improvement. On the far left side is those that are just sort of committing to quality improvement, don't really have some formal training, may not be familiar with the language or the model for improvement or what it looks and feels like to actually do this, all the way through to the far right side, which is full adoption, and these are the people who could be training and teaching and talking to us about the activities that they've got going on. We aspire to move everyone from the left side to the right side. Next one. And this is what we've accomplished so far. So in our pre-work, we had most of the concentration was in between installation and implementation. So discussion about quality improvements, some work being done. After we got involved with agencies through our coaches, our quality improvement, and our data coaches, we've moved that bar quite significantly, much more towards the full adoption. So the program and the approaches that we have really do work. So if you are interested in improving your capacity and capability to do quality improvement, we are absolutely the right choice to be able to help you with that. Next one. And these are just a couple of examples of things that we've done based on the domains of quality. So we've increased wait times very significantly from 186 days to 2 weeks. We've improved access to primary care for pregnant substance using women, improved development of care plans for seniors identified with depression, streamlined transitions from hospitals community, and for some agencies that's a real challenge. We've improved achievement of client goals and recovery plans using the OCAN, reduced client dropouts from programs and a number of our colleagues' addiction programs across the province, reintegration of clients who've been kicked out of programs or had incidents at programs, so figured out different ways of managing that. So to date, we've worked with 99 organizations, so just shy of 100 organizations across the province. Next one. So this is our next work. So this may be very familiar to you. It's sort of the 6 key priorities that the Ministry of Health has laid out for the mental health and addiction sector. And you can see 2 of them really speak to what it is E-QIP is all about: measuring quality and performance and supporting continuous quality improvement. Those will be expectations of programming going forward into the Ontario Health teams. And many of our partners who will be with us as part of an Ontario Health team have already got infrastructure and quality improvement programming and reporting going on. So the goal with E-QIP is really to help that community sector to be a more equal partner. And part of how we do that is understanding what our strengths are, what areas we need to work on, and then supporting agencies to be able to do quality improvement through our coaching program and over that 6-month or 8-month period, so that you now speak the same language, you know what it is you're doing, you know what your strengths are, and you're contributing to making it a better service for your clients. The next one. So this is the actual proposal that we put in and has been accepted, and we have funding, though not flowed yet, but funding going through to March 31st of 2021, which seems a million years away, but really is not that far away. The majority of the focus will be on using standardized tools, specifically the OPOC, to identify areas for quality improvement and to begin to build a repository of activities and change ideas and things that help make a difference. We've identified 4 key indicators, which I'll share with you in just a moment. And the other piece of that is to, one of our groups is going to be working specifically around identifying which indicator or which question on the OPOC or questions will help to be a standard approach for reporting client perception of care with the mental health and addiction, community mental health and addiction sector. So we have another group that's working specifically on that. GAIN and OCAN will be part of that standardized tool down the road, but our primary focus at the beginning is with OPOC. Next one. So this work really is to inform using OPOC how we can make improvements for clients, and we do know that the OPOC scores are quite high, but there is opportunity to make improvements and to understand better why you're not getting a 4 out of 4 on each of those different responses and how to make that better for the client. And then we will be coming up with a number of questions which we have at this point in time and are beginning to test specifically what those indicators might be or which questions we should focus on, which will make the biggest difference for clients' perception of care with your service. Ultimately, our goal is to improve client experience and outcomes for clients, and that's what E-QIP and quality improvement is all about. And the next one. So this is our work for E-QIP 3.0. So we sort of divvied it up into 5 steps or 5 stages along a continuum. So we know that there's a number of groups, community mental health and addiction agencies, that are not yet using the OCAN, and the OPOC, and we know some of those are in the supportive housing program. Some of them are in other areas which just have not gotten to it yet, or it's not been a priority, or they're using something else to assess their impact with clients or the value of them with the clients. So part of what we're going to be doing with PSSP is working to get people using the OPOC as a standard approach to gathering information about clients' experiences with your service. Next step after that is once you've signed up and got yourself prepared to do that, is figuring out regular intervals for getting that information from clients and getting that into your database, which all agencies will be able to look at in a very timely way, and to better understand what clients are telling them, to figure out when you're going to be measuring, what points you ask clients to give you some feedback, which it may be different with different aspects of the services you provide. The third step is going to be reflecting on those OPOC findings. And when we say reflecting, we're not just talking about printing a report. We're talking about figuring out what's actually happening with this data, and we have support to do data literacy and data analysis of those reports. But most importantly, are we having that discussion at a board level? Are we having that discussion with our team and with our clients? And how do we know where we ought to focus? What's the pain point, as Mike used to speak about, that point at which, gosh, we got to do something about this because it's keeping us awake at night. So reflecting on your OPOC findings, thinking about what you might do. The fourth stage is really where the E-QIP QI and data coaching comes in, and that's what that application is right now. So it's taking your OPOC data and figuring out, where do we need to focus? What's the quality improvement activity that we need to do based on these results? Giving that a try and figuring out what it is we learn from that. Some things that you're going to try are not going to make a difference. Other things you try will, and you want to sustain those. So we use the model for improvement to help us to work through a quality improvement question or problem and figure out how we can make that better. So that's that fourth stage, and that's what we're inviting applications for right now. So if you're ready to do an application, it's assumed that you're on that fourth step. And the last step is really submitting a quality improvement plan, a QIP, as it's affectionately known as. And it's going to be to our community of practice. So it's going to be with each other as opposed to the Ministry of Health or Health Quality Ontario. We're not quite ready to do that yet. But it's going to be an aspirational quality improvement plan, followed up the following year with actually doing some activity and seeing whether or not you can move that metrics or that number that you're wanting to make better. So once we, I'll just finish off the slides, and then I would really like to welcome some questions. So the next one. So what you can expect from us. And again, we'll send these slides, so hopefully you'll be able to read this again. So go ahead. Oh, that one was supposed to be before. I messed up my order here. So these are the OPOC questions that we're going to focus on this time around. I don't know for sure that these are the perfect questions yet. We need to test them out, and we're very excited to be able to do that. One of the things that always seems to come up is wait times for services are reasonable for me, so that access piece. And for some clients, it's completely acceptable, your wait time. Others, it's completely unacceptable. And how can we make that better? So that's one of the activities that will be going on. Number 12 was I was involved as much as I wanted to be in the decisions about my treatment services and supports. So one of the things we think will be helpful for those agencies that are currently doing the OCAN, there is an opportunity for clients to name their goals and their aspirations. And some agencies make a point of getting those completed and hearing from the client voice. Others do not. Some of them in other services might have a goal planning session with clients that gets documented and recorded. And are we doing that consistently? Does every client have an opportunity to feel like they've made decisions about where they're going from here or what their aspirations are? So that question will be an important one. 27 is staff help me develop a plan for when I finish the program. And again, always challenging across our sector, because some programs like supportive housing, like EBI, like ACT teams, they intend to have a much longer relationship with the client. Have you had that discussion with the client about what would it look like? What would it feel like if I no longer needed your service? And are you working towards that? So some of those questions would be answered in that way. And the last one is the service I've received have helped me to deal more effectively with life challenges. So that really is, you made a difference for me. And these are the things that made a difference for me. So understanding what those doses are, what those activities are, what makes that difference for clients. So those are our priority questions at this point in time, and we're just beginning to test those beginning in October. Next slide. So the coaching to quality, so we have 2 coaches that will be involved with you, a quality improvement coach, and their focus is on helping you work through the quality improvement model, the model for improvement, sorry. And the data coaches are helping you to pull the data to be able to say pre and post, yes, this activity made a difference, and these are the results. These are the numbers that help me to know that. They'll help you to identify what measures you want to look at, and some pretty smart people that assist with that process. So they're going to be supporting you through the whole model for improvement. We have several coaching sessions. So there's, and some in-person training. So there's an executive sponsor training that happens in November. In early December, we have one where we'll bring you together to really work on the diagnostics, and then we'll come back to your agency and help you to do that in real time. But you'll learn about it first. And then in February, we have another session where we'll start to look at the change ideas, how you're going to go about doing that, some really fun activities around how to think differently and how to come up with some really creative ideas. And again, we'll come back to your agency and work with you around those things. We have a number of educational sessions. We have ongoing communiques and webinars that people are invited to. Some are very relevant for you, some are not so useful. We record them all. And we have a YouTube channel, so you'll be able to watch these in whatever works for you. Most of them are less than an hour. We also have a quick series that we've done last summer that is about the model for improvement and all the different stages in the model for improvement. And those ones are about 18 minutes to 24 minutes or so. And so a great way to just to get a little refresher on the different parts. So the next slide. The other thing we offer is general coaching for those agencies that aren't ready yet to do a project. So maybe they don't have a regular discussion at the board level about quality improvement. They may not be really thinking about having a team or some people that might be involved in working on a quality improvement. And that's some areas that we can come and help agencies to figure out where you are in terms of quality readiness, what training or learning might be helpful, who should be involved in that. And then some webinars and supports connecting you with peers to get you to the point where you could potentially do a project. So both of those kinds of coaching are available from us. Next slide. Just a reminder of the model for improvement so we can carry on from there. And this is what it looks like. So this is a timeline example. So beginning now, we're inviting the applications to be submitted to us, and then we will be identifying those agencies we're going to be working with quite quickly. And our coaches and myself will be involved. We'll do some surveys. I mentioned those. One is a quality and data readiness tool. One is a quality improvement culture, and one is sustainability. So great self-assessment tools that give you a baseline and something you can compare to for when you're finished with us, all done with us, although hopefully you're not ever done with us, but we'll always be there to support and provide learnings and opportunities and areas to connect you with others. So the executive sponsor starts on the 6th. We like to let executive sponsors know what it is they can expect from us and sort of the preview before your team gets started, because they won't be actively involved in the actual project work you're doing other than to support and make sure you've got resources. So we'll be meeting with you on site or virtually to introduce a coaching team and then to do those pre-work surveys with you. And then there's a learning session in early December about the diagnostic tools, and then we'll come back out and help you to do those diagnostic tools. So you'll do fishbones and you'll do 5 whys and you might do a Pareto, some activities that help you to figure out what the real root cause and problem are. We'll invite you back in early February to do the ideas and PDSA activities, and then we'll come back out to you either virtually or on site to help you figure those out, to start doing them, to start plotting your data. And then there'll be a less supported but continuous improvement stages where we will support you through your PDSAs. We're always a sounding board. Does this make sense? This is what my findings are. I'm not sure about this. So we're available to do all of those kinds of things. We really encourage you to use one of the tools that we've developed to track your data over time so that you're ready to go to that very exciting conference to brag about the work that you've done in that very exotic place, wherever that happens to be for you. And then to be able to support you in the post-work surveys as well, and your sustainability, keeping this going, bragging about what you're doing, connecting you with people who have the same kind of issue and could really benefit from learning about what you learned. On the next slide. So here's the application, and I'm hoping I might be able to open this. Ash, can you see if you can put it back on my screen? Can people see that?
Is there a way to make that bigger, Deb?
Potentially.
Oh, you know what?
Yes, there you go.
Fine.
There you go. There you go.
That's great.
Yeah.
Okay. So the application is pretty simple. Just as you work your way through, some easy questions right at the beginning, inviting you to tell us what you would be willing to share in terms of your progress. Of course, we all want you to write peer-reviewed journal articles. At the end, I'm joking there, but we would love to support you in being able to do that about some of your outcomes. But some of the work that you need to do beforehand and with your boards and with your teams is what is the problem or gap or opportunity that you'd like to address. And sometimes it's helpful if you can focus it around those 4 questions. So is it about access to your service? Is it about wait times? Is it about getting referrals to you or reporting back to others? Is it about getting people to articulate those goals and meeting those goals? So what's really important to your agency, or what are you hearing as client complaints, team complaints? Your data is saying that there's been a change in the number of people that are starting to come to your service. There's been a drop off. You know, what's going on for you? So trying to articulate that in the problem area as best as you can. And then have you got any ideas about how you might make that better? And what data you might collect, or what data you did collect that helped you to figure out this is something we ought to pay attention to. So sometimes it's client complaints, sometimes it's data. The third question is, how will the coaching resources help advance this activity? So you will have some strengths in your agency, no question about that, but what do you hope you can get from us? And it may be as simple as we would like to learn more about the model for improvement. We would like to have some support in figuring out how to use our data more effectively, or what our data is actually saying to us, some of the analysis piece, and all of those things that we can help you with. How will this quality improvement activity help improve the services you provide? So if your issue is around access, being able to get your clients in sooner is going to help reduce their number of emergency room visits, may make more peace at home, may get them seen and healthier in a much faster way. So what difference does it make to the client? And if you can think about this question, think about it from the client's perspective. What's in it for them? Why is it important to do this? Then if you could think about which sort of domains, and we've outlined safe, effective, client-centered, efficient, timely, and equitable from a client perspective, and also what it means for you. So if you could figure out which of any or all of these that you're going to be working on, and don't expect to be working on them all. It's not expected, and certainly not how it all works. The sixth question is, which OPOC indicator would you like to line up with or work with? So again, access, being involved in the decision making or the goal setting, having a plan when I finish, so around discharge planning, and also the last one is about this service made a difference for me. So which OPOC indicator fits best with what it is you like to do? And then we're just asking you to tell us a story. Sometimes it's easier to tell you what the problem is. Why is it that we want to do something about this? What's keeping us up at night? What's concerning us? What's not okay that we want to make better? And sometimes that's a great starting place for the coaches to help you figure out where you go from here. Then you're just going to look at the stages of readiness and figure out where you might be, and those are on the slides that I shared with you. You know, are we at a really beginning stage? We're in an exploration stage. Do we have a little bit of training, but we're not really sure what we're doing? We are implementation, so we feel like we've got a few smarts, but we really could use some tweaking and some help. Or are we at adoption and we really want to really blow the waves off the water and you know, become a center of excellence for this. So just think about where you are. You'll need your executive sponsor to sign it and that they agree to attend the executive sponsor training on November 6th. And that's sort of a hard date. We don't have a second one for that, and nor do we record it. So we're really hoping that people can be at that. We also invite you to send a team lead or whoever's gonna be working, gonna have the lead for your quality improvement process, because it's not usually the executive sponsor. And if you want to invite a board member, you're welcome to do that as well. And then fire it off to us. They're due next Friday, not this Friday, next Friday. So now if we could cut from here and go back to the slides. So if you want to take the screen back, Ash. And go to the next one. Just in here, we'll just go through these quickly. These are just some ways to reach us, and I know a number of you are already tweeting with us, and we try to tweet with you as well. So there's our hashtag. We are soon to launch a real Twitter handle. It's coming soon. Next one. This is our community of practice, which all of you are welcome to join. Lots and lots of resources on there, like Fishbones, like 5 Whys, all kinds of activities that you can get up ahead of time. Webinars are there, some of our templates, newsletters, discussion. So there's how to join it, real easy. And it's, gosh, how many are on there now, Ash? I think there's 200 or 300 people.
I believe it's around just over 200, and hoping to increase those numbers. You can look forward to my post every Thursday. It's a Thursday Thought, and we share some great resources that are out there.
Super, thanks, Ash. Next slide. This is a part of our webinar series on YouTube. So I spoke about some of the activities that we've been involved in. The experience-based co-design was webinar number 8, trusting quality improvement process, governance and leadership follow-up, and we do have a governance and leadership program coming up on November 28th. It'll be in Toronto, and that's an opportunity for board members and executive sponsors, team leads to come and learn some more about the role of board and the activity at that level for quality improvement. So next slide. Any of these are linkable, like you can click on them and watch it. This is our mailing list. If you're not already on our mailing list, I would encourage you to do that. It's a great way of keeping up with us, and we have a series of webinars coming up in October, specifically around those 3 tools that I spoke about. So sustainability, quality improvement, and a data tool that we will be walking you through. And even if you decide not to join E-QIP as an applicant, you can use these tools to do a self-assessment and figure out where you are and know your strengths and areas to work on. And the next one. The application package is here. You can visit us at either Canadian Mental Health or Addictions and Mental Health Ontario. And I think the last one is just our contact info. Yeah, so I'd like to open it up for questions, and hopefully people can either speak out loud if we take the mute off, or put your question in the chat box.
Just inviting folks to please let us know via the chat box if you do have a question and would like to speak. I'm happy to take you off of mute. Joanne asks, what might the timeline for the next cohort be? So not this cohort that would be starting in the fall, but the next cohort in the springtime?
So we'll be inviting applications in February of 2020, and that one won't have as long to work with us, but we will be starting that work probably in April.
Okay, and John asks if the assessment documents are on the CMHA Ontario website.
We haven't released those yet. We've been playing with them over the summer. The coaches have done an outstanding job of pulling it all together into one document. So we are doing a PDSA ourselves on these new tools and making sure that we've got what we need. So we'd like to do it with agencies as opposed to just sending it out to the world, so that we can get some feedback as to whether it makes sense. Do the questions make sense? Do the suggestions make sense? Does accurate reflection? So we're going to use it for the first time with the applicants, and then but the tools themselves we'll be sharing individually during the webinars in October, and there's 3 of those coming up, and we'll communicate out probably the start of the week.
And Joanne asks if we're planning for another cohort for the fall of 2020.
The next cohort will be in probably, we'll invite applications in February, and we'll start probably in May, and that will be our last cohort. So it'll be this one and one more.
Okay. So John also asking about when to get involved, if springtime might be a possibility. Certainly, I would invite you to perhaps give Debbie a phone call or send her an email. You can see her contact information there, and just have a nice, wholesome conversation with her about where you might be at and when the best time for you to get involved might be.
Yeah, I would encourage. This is kind of like the Nike slogan, right? So just do it. There never will be the perfect time to be involved. The learning and the differences you're going to make for your clients will begin to happen as soon as you start to do this work. So it's like that point, you know, should we have kids or should we not? How soon should we do that? When's the right time? There is never a right time necessarily. It is a busy time. But again, if you're starting to work on quality improvement, if you're positioning yourselves as experts around quality improvement and what we are good at our agency and what we need to make changes about, you've got time to do that before the full rollout of the Ontario Health Team. So it's going to make you a more equal partner with agencies and organizations that have been doing quality improvement for a long time. So the sooner you can get involved, the better. Know that it's not an onerous task, that we do work at your pace, though we do have some set training sessions, and we're certainly not unreasonable to work with. We have incredible expertise and experience. We also can connect you with others who have done similar work to speed up the process for you. So I would really encourage you, if you're sitting on the fence, should I not? The sooner you get onto this, ultimately the better for your clients and also for your agency in terms of confidence to be part of an Ontario Health Team.
Thanks for that, Deb. If there's no further questions from our audience, I suppose that we can end a little bit early. Please know I will be sending a follow-up email either today or tomorrow, including a SurveyMonkey link of how valuable you felt this webinar was, as well as inviting you to make suggestions for future webinar topics that may be of interest. I'll be sure to include our contact information if you would like to reach out to discuss your potential involvement with our next cohort, and the YouTube link to this webinar that will send you to our other webinars that are on our YouTube channel, and certainly invite you to view those.
So for instance, if you've got somebody who would like to, who you think might be good to be a team lead or involved in the process who wasn't on the phone today, great way to have them hear the same content and hopefully be tickled to be involved. So if there's not any other questions, please feel free to email me. I'm happy to respond as quickly as I can, and would be very interested in helping people with doing their application. If that assists or sorting through what you think the problem is, happy to have those conversations with you. And I also have a team of coaches happy to have those conversations with you as well. So please don't hesitate to get in touch with us. We're here to help.